All right, what's going on, everybody? Well, lots is going on. Lots is going on right now. We had to get the oil stream running a little bit earlier here today on Edmonton Sports Talk. Usually we get started at noon. It is 11:39, and we are ready to rock and roll as things are moving on. The Edmonton Oilers deadline is not until Friday, but apparently the Oilers are moving early here against Anaheim. And it's funny because this morning on the show we were talking about, we're like, that's it. Go get Henrique, Vetrano, and Gudis right now. But it does look like Adam Henrique is, in fact, and Sam Carrick apparently are going to be Edmonton Oilers. If you have any questions, hit us up, of course. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Joelle's in there and says, the Discord is blowing up right now. That's good. Discord's blowing up. Smash the thumbs up if you're here joining us as well. And we'll see what ends up happening here. Tommy, let's get into what is the absolute latest on this situation right now.
All right, so Henrique and Carrick to Edmonton. Multiple picks to Anaheim, and then I was told TBD on the third party involved on who's brokering the salary retention and all of that. So that's what's being worked out right now. But Carrick and Henrique to Edmonton, that's significant. There's two pieces right there. And then they can go and try to add a veteran defenseman. I was told as of like 10 minutes ago, they did circle back on Sean Walker. We're seeing tweets from Friedman now saying that the Avs are probably getting Walker. And I mentioned on the Hangout that someone mentioned to me that Tony DeAngelo is somebody that the Oilers kick tires on. And then I was told by people in hockey ops that no to DeAngelo.
So that's an out. Tony DeAngelo not going to be happening on the other side of it here. Yeah. So had circled back around on Sean Walker. It looks like Colorado's going to get their hands on Sean Walker. So Sean Walker will be coming out west, whatever you believe in Sean Walker. That's the latest from Elliot Friedman. Adam Henrique, Sam Carrick coming to Edmonton. Those are the two forwards. Not expecting another body to move back out the other way, because if they're going to try to get another team to broker, could be up to 75% retained by these guys actually rolling in, right? I did the math on it. I think the two of them combined on a cap hit perspective, 6.675 on the two. You've got Henrique at 5.825 and then Carrick at 850. Both of these guys will be unrestricted free agents at the end of the season. So a couple of rentals brought in here by the Edmonton Oilers. We know that it is picks going the other way. There has to be a pick for retention going to somebody here as well. This is going to be a first, isn't it?
Probably.
It's going to be a first here. I think.
Maybe,
I saw somebody message in and say, Dusty, they're not giving up a first for these guys. If it's not a first, that's some fine work right there. But I feel like it's probably going to be a first.
We have to keep in mind this is not a Tarasenko situation where he basically picked where he was going to go. And people like looking at the second and the fourth rounder that Tarasenko was given up, or it's third and fourth, right?
It was third and fourth. There's a condition on the fourth that becomes a third, but it's a cheating deal. I mean,
because he said, I'm going to Florida. That's where my family is. That's not the case in this situation. He basically got to dictate it, and Steve Staios had to try to maximize the return. So that's a little bit different. I could see the first rounder going in this, and then now they can go out and focus on adding a depth defenseman. I think this takes them out of swinging for the fences, because Henrique was a target. Pagnotta was talking about it on Hello Hockey basically for the last 3 weeks and connecting Edmonton to Anaheim on this. I don't know. This is kind of an impact move, I would say.
Yeah, this is a big deal.
Middle six guy, he can be in your top six, and then you add a depth guy, probably better than some of the guys. Obviously better than Brown, obviously probably better than Gagne and Carrick, and now you can focus on the defense.
Well, we'll take a look at what the possible line combinations could look like. Adam Henrique will be in the top six here. I would think. I mean, unless you really think that McLeod can be a winger, and then Henrique's going to be your third line center and a really good third line center. But I think he's going to be in the top six.
Flexibility.
He has to be. Yeah, a versatile
Lots
guy.
Of flexibility. What if you could get
play center, left wing, and or right wing? Really.
Right, and what if you talked about it on the Nielson show this morning? We've talked about it a little bit of late. What if now you want to look at Henrique with Kane and see if those two can figure it out, because we know it doesn't work with Draisaitl and Kane. It's an option. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I don't say it needs to happen, but you can look at it and you can try to feel it out a little bit. So more options now, and that's a good thing. Flexibility has been a key thing that this organization has kind of put a focus on the last couple of years, and we're going to see more of it.
780-218-9999. Who can we get from Anaheim to hop on and talk about this? Who can we text? We got lots of time here. We're going to be on the air till at least 1. So
usually it's Iceman Cometh, Eric Stevens, but he's been more on the Kings beat lately. Jonathan Davis. I need to step out for a sec.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah, we're going to try to track somebody down here to bring on a guest here on the Oil Stream to talk a little bit more about exactly what the Edmonton Oilers are getting in this deal. I like it. I think this is good. I mean, you're bringing in, we're going to take a look at some of the numbers right now. You can text us your thoughts on it, 780-218-9999. This text says, does adding Henrique push Kane to the third line? If so, how will that affect his mood? First of all, I'll just say this. If Evander Kane's mood is going to be affected by any of this, then trade him by Friday too. I'm sorry. People need to stop asking and caring about Evander Kane's mood. Evander Kane is on a Stanley Cup contender and gets a decent amount of ice time. I don't care if bringing in Adam Henrique pushes Evander Kane down. How does he feel about it? I mean,
doesn't matter.
That's the bet you made with Evander Kane. If he's going to be pouty, then he's going to be pouty. We don't even know if he's going to be pouty. I can see why people would speculate about it. But I think Henrique's going to be a top 6 guy, and Kane's going to be a top 6 guy, and that's probably how it's going to work out. 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. EH is in and says, Henrique is a third-line center. He's not a top 6 player. Still a good ad. So
that's subjective. That is totally subjective. I'll rattle off his numbers to you.
Yeah.
He's got 42 points in 60 games this year on an absolute dog crap Anaheim team. 38 points in 62 games last year. 42 and 58 the year prior with Anaheim. In 2021, 21 points in 45 games. This is a guy, what is a top 6 player? What's a second liner these days? 50-ish points? Right?
Yeah, I mean, somewhere in that range.
That's
somewhere in that
have
range.
50 to 60 this year. That sounds like a top 6 guy. Middle 6 for sure, obviously. On a great team, maybe he's bumped down to the third line. But listen, this is a top 6 guy that's capable of being in top. He's going to be a middle 6 guy for the Oilers. That's a good pickup. Veteran. He's been through the rigors of multiple seasons. He's only been to the postseason a couple of times, though, which is interesting. Although with New Jersey.
Yeah, like a while ago, right?
Yeah, 13 points in 24 games on the Devils run in 2012. And then in 17-18, just 4 points, or 4 games played, no points with the Ducks.
Sam Carrick, 32 years old, UFA at the end of the season. 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, 11 points in 61 games played. We know friend of EST Bob Stauffer has been talking about Sam Carrick quite a bit, kind of throwing that name around there a little bit.
Hasn't been talking about Justin Danforth lately, huh?
Yeah, he still love Danforth. He still love Danforth.
Well, he just broke a 25-game scoreless streak.
Who is this guy, Connor Brown? Carrick comes in and is your fourth-line center. That's what this is, right?
There you go. Probably. Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to be on your third line.
No.
He'll be your fourth-line center. So the Edmonton Oilers, basically what they have done here, and we're still waiting to confirm all of the details on this, basically what they've done is they've acquired, in my opinion, I don't know if there needs to be this debate, but I'm sure they're viewing him as a top 6 forward. So they've acquired a top 6 forward. They've acquired a fourth-line player. The only thing that would be left between now and the deadline, and it's sure we know it's something they're still working on, would be a veteran depth defenseman. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see, and it is a first rounder.
There you go.
Okay, so this is Elliot Friedman. I apologize to any of the other insiders if they also had this. It's just coming up on my my feed right now. Edmonton's first rounder to Anaheim for Henrique and Carrick, plus another later conditional pick. So that's from Elliot. What's interesting there is Elliot doesn't have anything on the deal being brokered by anybody.
That's the TBD part, right?
Yeah. But it's got to be tied in here. Sean Walker looking like it is going to be a first-round pick as well to the Colorado Avalanche. Eric Stevens. Iceman cometh, as we were talking about. Hearing that the Oilers' first-round pick in 2024 and a conditional fifth in 2025 that can improve to a fourth if the Edmonton Oilers win the Stanley Cup.
There you go.
Now, can they get this? Can this deal happen? Well, they're brokering it. Somebody's going to be involved here. Yeah. So we're waiting for the details on who's going to broker it and what's that's going to be moved. Jimbo's in and says a first. Boo! I mean, how are you expecting to get? How are you expecting to get guys? What are we talking about here?
I fully expected people to be unhappy with whatever cost for whoever the Oilers get. They're never going to appease everybody in oil country. I'll start with that. It's going to be a late round pick. It's going to be like 25 plus.
Yeah.
Right? So do you want them to win now, or do you want them to take a swing at a guy late in the first round?
Do you view this in any way as an overpayment?
No.
This is right in the wheelhouse for me because I said I wasn't going to call anything an overpayment this week.
Right.
And this is. I mean, yeah. What do you expect to get? You expect to get Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick for Magic Beans? Like, what are we talking about here?
Some people would.
What did you want them to move? A second rounder and that's it? What are we talking about?
Oh, the second rounder you're saving for the veteran D.
Well, they have a second rounder still that you can move for a veteran defenseman.
There you go.
I
think that I think it's going to be quiet in terms of if they pull off the defense trade in the next day or so. Like, say, tomorrow.
What do you mean it's going to be quiet?
I think Friday will be quiet for the Oilers.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they just made the big trade.
Yeah.
So there's a defenseman. There's going to be a defenseman coming. There has to be a defenseman coming. You're not going to bring in Henrique and Carrick and go, that's the forward group, but the blue line's fine. Like there has to be a veteran defenseman coming in
right now.
Ken Holland has already talked about it. They'll be looking at bare minimum a veteran defenseman, and that's what they've got here.
Henrique's going to have a 60-point season if he puts together a nice stretch drive. He'll hit 50. He's 8 away.
780-218-9999. This one is in and says, Oilers' first-round pick may as well be a second-round pick. It's not an overpay in the slightest. That comes from Greg in Veg, which could be Vegas, likely Vegreville.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that sorts itself out. Guys, Mantha and Tarasenko went for less is the argument. That comes from Raider Jesse. I mean, first of all, let me reset this. Tarasenko is a non-comparable. Do not come in here today and bring up Tarasenko. Tarasenko had a full no-trade clause and said, I want to go play in Florida.
Correct.
And that screwed the Ottawa Senators.
So Steve Staios had to scramble to get something. Basically.
Sweetheart deal for the Florida Panthers and a great fit for the Florida Panthers, but completely uncomparable in this situation.
Yep.
And on the Anthony Mantha one, it's a second and a fourth. And Adam Henrique's a better player than Anthony Mantha, and you're getting a fourth-line center, which this team really needs.
You're getting 2 players instead of 1, and you're meeting needs, I think is the more appropriate way to describe it, for roughly the same that Vegas paid for one guy in Anthony Mantha.
Jimbo is in his personal opinion is rather see that first packaged in a bigger deal and not used on depth.
This is
Adam Henrique is one of the best pieces available, you guys. Yeah. Now I will say this: I would have rather seen the first move to get Buchnevich because he has term.
Yeah.
I was saying all along. I think term
one
is king here. That's something that they got to kind of get their hands on. Unfortunately, they weren't able to do that in this situation. So. Yeah, not ideal because it's not a guy who's going to be here next year, assuming they're both UFAs and can possibly move along here. But this is the trade deadline, and you are a contender for the Stanley Cup. These are the types of deals that get made. Simple as that. Now, here's the fun part of it, and we'll continue to wait and see what else trickles in here. But what does the forward group look like with Adam Henrique and with Sam Carrick involved. 780-218-9999. Hammer the inbox. Tell your friends about Edmonton Sports Talk. By the way, if you're checking us out, let it be known that on Monday, qualifying begins for a chance to win a trip to Vegas. So make sure you sub to the channel if you haven't already. Be with us on Monday. You're going to have 4 to 5 occasions every single day to get that keyword to qualify for a trip to Vegas. Trip for 2, nonstop, Edmonton to Vegas from Fly YEG with our wonderful partners down at the airport. 3 nights accommodation, so a nice little trip here shaping up. And then on top of it, they'll hook you up with 2 tickets to a Cirque show as well. Qualifying for that begins Monday right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Nash Osborne is in. Says the only way people will be happy is if Hughes and Crosby came over for 3 packs of OPG. And hey, look, it is a big day in the card world as the Connor Bedard Young Gun. The hunt is on for that $1 million card. Big Maple Sports Card says, hit the thumbs up, everyone. Almost 500 watchers for breaking news coverage. Yeah, hammer that thumbs up. We'd appreciate that. I'll continue to fire things out. Pontiac Bandit 83 says, Holland is impressing me with his deal making the last couple of years. Wow. Yeah, like it's go ahead.
Edmonton's getting a pick back, by the way.
Edmonton's getting a pick back as well.
7th rounder.
Okay, where's that from?
Daily Faceoff.
All right, so they're getting a 7th rounder back.
Yep.
So that's what we know so far? What we've pieced together here?
Henrique Carrick. 7th coming to Edmonton.
And a 7th coming back.
2024 first and a conditional 5th. The Stanley Cup thing. And that is the full deal. So no player involved as of yet from an Oilers standpoint to give away.
This is interesting. Ryan Johansson is going to go back to Philly in the Sean Walker trade, according to Dreger, which is what was talked about with Tanev. Remember with Tanev, it was Ryan Johansson and a first for Tanev, or Cody Ceci and a first for Tanev.
Yeah.
Looks like it's Ryan Johansson and a first for Sean Walker. As these top-end teams in the National Hockey League, how much of this was spurred on, do you think, by Florida getting Tarasenko? Is it just a coincidence that Florida gets Tarasenko and then boom, the Oilers move, and then boom, Colorado moves? I think it could be because considering Tarasenko controlled his own destiny, Edmonton and Colorado could not have been waiting on Tarasenko,
No.
I don't think.
I feel like this has probably been cooking anyway. Yeah, especially if Tarasenko's deal was in a silo where he's only looking at the Panthers.
Which it sure seemed like it, right?
All indicators point to that. I think the first shoe to really drop was probably Tanev, and then that kind of reset the D market. And then everybody was waiting on Philly to see if they were going to be able to sign Walker to an extension. They tried. Edmonton, like I mentioned before, Edmonton circled back on Walker to see if they could get in there. And maybe that goes back to so it was the first in Johansson for Walker, right?
Well, those are the pieces. I don't know if that's the exact deal.
And I know talking to some people, they were frustrated on Sunday night at the game in the press box about teams like a Philadelphia and others not willing to budge from their demands. And I think a lot of that was everybody wanted a first rounder. Everything started with a first rounder. So first rounder plus, which we saw teams cave like the Oilers to get Henrique. So it looks to me like Edmonton has prioritized, obviously, getting the forward depth taken care of, which they've done in one trade. And then now they can go roam around and try to snag a veteran D-man to help bolster the back end.
Rays 48 in the nasty chat says, we gave up a gosh darn first for this pile of garbage trade. I mean, there's going to be retention on this too, right?
Let's start with this.
There has to be retention.
There is going to be retention.
There's retention too.
That's what's getting hashed out right now. How is it a garbage trade if you just made a good team better? The Oilers just got better. They met 2 needs. How is that a garbage trade?
Some people just won't be happy.
And it goes down to what's the sexier deal as opposed to what's the right deal for the team. And last week and last show on Monday, I said, I prefer the right deal for the Oilers as opposed to go and get the biggest name out there. And some people can't get off of that.
So the Oilers can get this deal done with retention and not have to move a contract out. They have enough space to get this done. If a third team is going to be brokered in, does it work on if a third team is going to get brokered in, the first team has to retain the 50? Right?
I'm not.
That would make kind of sense to me. I just texted Hart. Here we go. He just texted me back. All right. So, yeah, Hart from Puckpedia.
Yeah. You're having him on tomorrow, right?
Yeah. We're just going back and forth on these things. He says he's expecting the 25% broker to cost a fourth, but he hasn't. It's like that's the going rate for the 25% broker. So he's expecting that to cost a fourth as well. So,
I like Brett's response in the inbox. It's not a garbage trade. People are expletive. Expletive is what it is.
Jamie Mclennan's going to join us coming up here at some point on the Oil Stream today. Noodles is actually in Anaheim today. He's doing the Ducks Sens game tonight. We were talking about these guys this morning. So, Zach, if you email a link to Jamie, it should pop up. He should be in that account. And I just told him to fire a text when he wants to hop on, and we'll get him on, and we'll have Jamie Mclennan join us to get his thoughts on Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick joining the Edmonton Oilers. He'll fire me a text. You can send it to him now, but he'll let me know when he's ready to hop on. 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999 if you would like to chime in on this one. So, yeah, I mean, there's a chance here, and let us know if you see it. Obviously, Tommy and I are trying to host the show right now and get to your messages and have a conversation. So if you do see something that pops up on the exact process of the retention, feel free to fire those over to us along the way, either in the text at 780-218-9999 or over on the Nasty Chat. If you're not yet subbed to the channel, please do. We would appreciate that. Lots of coverage coming up and leading to the NHL trade deadline. But if this is indeed, so it's 6.675. Is that what their number is? That's their number combined, I think. I just did that math quickly in my head earlier. Henrique's 5.825. And Carrick is 850, so yeah, 6.675. If that ends up being 25% retained, which without moving a player out,
what did we ballpark it with?
It probably has to be about to $3 million. If that's 25% retained, that'd be like 2.2. So they'd still have like 800, and then you get another guy to whoever the veteran defenseman is. Get them to retain, and mission accomplished. You've managed to bring in three guys with the $3 million in cap space you have prior to the deadline, thanks to a ton of NHL retention that's going on out there right now.
Right.
780-218-9999. Andrew's in and says, great trade. Phil's need much rather a first for Henrique versus a guy like Nick Dowd. I assume we will see an add-on D, and then that is about it. Yeah, I mean, an add-on D is all that's left.
Pretty much.
If they've got the two forwards already, all that's left is an add-on on the back end on the blue line. So we'll see how that sorts itself out.
Andrew, you read Andrew? Yep, got it. I'm just going through these texts. It's, man, Nasty Chat is popping off.
Here's another trade that's happening. What is going on?
This is insane.
Is the deadline at 1 o'clock today? Colorado has traded Bowen Byram.
Whoa.
Colorado has traded Bowen Byram to the Buffalo Sabres for Casey Middlestat.
Wow.
So Colorado, here's what Colorado's done to their team right now. And this is important. I mean, Edmonton is going to likely have to go through Winnipeg, Colorado, or Dallas if they get past Vancouver, Vegas, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. So Sean Walker comes in. Johansson goes out. Byram goes out. Casey Middlestat comes in to replace what they guess they would be losing in Ryan Johansson. Yep. That's a pretty interesting deal.
Really quickly here, I just got an update. I was from someone within the team. Focus has shifted to D. Depth guy, not a blockbuster.
Yeah. So like
confirmed.
6th or 7th defenseman. Will be what is left here. Barry is in and says, waivers lost in the translation. Sam Gagne, it is noon. I would assume Gagne.
I'm pretty sure he cleared.
Likely cleared today.
Pretty
Gord is in and says, I like Henrique as a better fit with this team than Tarasenko, Mantha, or Toffoli. Not many big upgrades available at D here anyway. And Sam Gagner did clear waivers as expected. But with two forwards coming in, and we'll get to that at some point. Jamie Mclennan is going to he's going to pop by. He's going to join us. And we still haven't seen which team is going to be involved in brokering this deal yet.
Bob did indicate it was an Eastern Conference team with the winky face. So I'll just go over that.
I mean that would make sense. In the end, it doesn't really matter who the other team is, as long as there's another team going there. So it would look like it would be 75% retained if Anaheim is retaining 50% to get the first and move the players, and then another team will retain 25%, and the Edmonton Oilers would end up with these two guys at 75% of their current cap hit, which would be just over about $2.2 million.
Carrick's a feisty guy, isn't he? 32, 90 PIMs this year, 86 last year, 85 the year before.
Can you look up his splits? How much does Carrick penalty kill?
That would be on Hockey Reference or Hockey Natural Stats.
Somebody will have it for us. I'm assuming Carrick penalty kills in Anaheim. Because if you look at how this roster is going to go together, let's
here.
Yeah, okay, give it to me.
70. No, that's splits. Hang on, I'm looking it up.
All right, here's the other thing you can do, because we're going to get into this. Where do Henrique and Carrick, what's your roster look like? What's your lineup look like? What's your forward group look like after this trade? Do you think, who do you think Henrique plays best with? Who do you think he fits best with? That's the interesting thing. Do you want to continue to ride McDavid and Draisaitl here for a little bit, or can we know Nuge, McDavid, and Hyman, probably the best line in the National Hockey League when together. So you put those guys together, Draisaitl, Kane, and Adam Henrique. What do you think about that line? I don't know. We've been talking a lot about Draisaitl and Kane not really showing a ton of chemistry.
No.
So can Henrique,
unfortunately,
can Henrique help that, or is it three guys that might not click together? Jess Wagoli says he's first line unit penalty killer down in Anaheim. So he will factor in, because there's going to be bodies who come out of the lineup with these two guys coming in and no forwards going out. So let's just take a look at the options here for the Edmonton Oilers. If you go McDavid, let's just base this on what we last saw from the Oilers. The Oil Stream, by the way, brought to you by Boston Pizza. If you're looking for a place to watch the game tomorrow night, Oilers, Blue Jackets, you can do it at all your Boston Pizza lounges. They got $5 off medium pizzas during the games. And you got to try the new New York Sicilian square footer. And we'll also be on location next Monday for lunch at let me get which location we're going to be at. We got this next two locations locked in. March 11th, we are going to be on location at Namale. We have the Namale Boston
Monday?
Pizza on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Do you want the splits on the time
Sure,
on it?
yeah.
Carrick
Yeah.
is a penalty killer, 162 minutes and 16 seconds on the PK this year, averaging 240 per game.
All right, so he's one of their top penalty killers in Anaheim. So he would come in here and kill penalties as well. And all right, so if we base this off of just last night's game, McDavid, Hyman, Draisaitl, Nuge, Kane, Adam Henrique, just put him in there.
Sure.
Yeah.
We saw Janmark get yanked
if you're
off of
giving up a first for Adam Henrique, you're not playing Matthias Janmark in your top six ahead of him. That's not happening. Ryan McLeod, Corey Perry, Warren Fogle, Dylan Holloway, Derek Ryan, Connor Brown. So two guys have to come out of the lineup.
Connor Brown.
Connor Brown's one of them?
Yeah.
Do they finally pull the plug on Connor Brown?
How do you not?
Or is it Derek Ryan?
Connor Brown. If you make the argument for one iota of a second, his penalty kill abilities, we just read off Sam Carrick's penalty killing. Connor Brown comes out. I'm sorry.
Well, 2 guys have to come out, so it's going to probably be
Brown automatic.
And Derek Ryan?
Probably Derek Ryan.
Do you have the splits of the Henrique penalty kill?
Yeah, it's right here.
What's does Henrique penalty
He
kill?
also kills penalties. 153.
Okay.
Time
So
on ice this year.
there's 2 guys who can come in and kill penalties for you. Hell, you could maybe even have them kill together. I don't know.
He averages 234 on the
penalty
this season.
So both of these guys kill penalties. So Derek Ryan, Connor Brown, you're out. Sam Carrick centers a Matthias Janmark, Dylan Holloway fourth line.
Sure.
Fogle, McLeod stay with Perry, and Henrique plays with Nugent and Evander Kane.
Sure.
Is that what this is?
You could do that. I mean, you could mix it and match it. I don't mind Perry moonlighting in the top 6 at times too on the right side. Like they say that Henrique on the right side, he can do it, but it's not his strength, obviously. Center left wing for him. If you try it and it doesn't work, maybe you flip Kane over to the right side, or you look at moving Perry up, and then that second and third line, they get even distribution in minutes, and first line is going to get all its cookies.
Zobazin says Sam Carrick has 8 goals. Enough said. Book closed. Yeah, it's not so much like Sam Carrick is their fourth line center and kills penalties for them moving forward for the rest of this season. It's does Derek Ryan come out? Does Connor Brown come out? Does Matthias Janmark come out sometimes? What ends up happening on that? Does Dylan Holloway come out sometimes? I mean,
maybe
Dylan Holloway isn't involved in special teams really in any way, shape, or form. Production really hasn't been there. You added a couple of veterans. I know some people might not like it, but if they want to keep Derek Ryan in or something, Dylan Holloway's production really doesn't back up, the love or the way even that you like the way he plays. I could see there be a rotation here with a few of these guys.
Sure. James says that when we saw rotation last year too, right? When Costin wouldn't get in, especially in the stretch drive. We saw Fogle until Puljujarvi got traded. He was getting healthy scratched at times. Now he's a regular. You're not taking him out by any means. James in the nasty chat says, getting pieces from the Ducks' 27th ranked PK might not be the godsend being painted here. I don't think we're painting it as a godsend.
Did we say it's a godsend? We
just said those guys kill penalties.
Said it's a really good deal yet.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is it's like we're not sitting here saying this is an amazing piece of work. We're saying here I think it's a good deal.
Yeah.
When you look at the guys you're going to be moved at the deadline, you managed to bring in a top 6 forward and a fourth line center for your team. Where's the bone to pick with this? I don't understand, but we're not sitting here being like, congratulations on your Stanley Cup victory, Edmonton Oilers.
No.
Lights out, competition's over.
And if you're
That's not what anybody's saying.
If you're taking out, let's go into the PK discussion here. If you're taking out Brown and Ryan on the PK, and you're putting in Carrick and Henrique on the PK, I don't think Brown and Ryan do not play together on the PK. Right? And those guys, like Brown's been in and out of the lineup a little bit lately. Like, I'm pretty sure that Carrick and Henrique can provide the same penalty killing abilities of Brown and Ryan. You need good attention to detail in your own zone. You need strong defensive play from the back end in your own zone. You need a save from your goalies. That contributed to Anaheim being absolute dog poop, on the PK this year.
Hey, boys, was a big Devils fan for a lot of years. Henrique is an excellent all-around player. He's Nuge light. I love it.
Okay.
That was the text. Don't worry, I didn't say I love it. I'm just saying that was in the text. And if he is Nuge light, that's why I don't know if you want Nuge and Henrique on the same line. Like I think they're two good guys that you want on separate lines.
I think Henrique's feisty. I always envision him as being
Nuge
feisty.
can be a little feisty at
and
times
Henrique
too.
Can mix it up. Nuge can be.
I think you look at it here. You've got your 2 elite centers in Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. You've got your 2 guys that should go to the net. We know one of them does all the time in Hyman. We know the other one could do it a little bit more in Evander Kane. And then you've got kind of the all-round players in Adam Henrique and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Right.
Like, it's very clear these defined roles, or it should be, among the guys in the top 6. So, yeah, I think you'll probably see Nuge and Henrique eventually come like playoff time on second lines. The
Lots
Reverend
of
is
flexibility.
The Reverend is in and says, "Is Carrick another Bukestad type of player? Your thoughts?" I thought you could play Bukestad further up in the lineup. I don't think you can do that with Carrick.
No, that's a good point. Bukestad has more offense, obviously, too. And we're seeing that again this year.
If you are watching on YouTube, please sub to the channel. Hammer a thumbs up out there for us. That would be great. Tell your friends about Edmonton Sports Talk. Tell them that they can listen on TuneIn or on iHeart. We have our own iHeart channel as well, and you can listen at edmontonsportstalk.com. And, of course, if you are listening on those devices, you can fire us a text, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Blaine from Scottsdale says, when you look at their cap, Henrique by himself was a great trade. Adding Carrick is a good bonus. Haas is wondering if there's any term left on Adam Henrique. No, there's no term left on either of these two guys. They will be unrestricted free agents at the end of the season. That's the only thing I don't really like about the deal is that unable to get somebody with term, especially if you could have got the Blues to retain on Buchnevich. Where do you think he ends up now?
Buchnevich. Who else is looking
Does Vegas somehow end up with him? Like there's Gensel and Buchnevich who are still kind of kicking around.
How about this Lindholm talk now? That they might flip him.
Yeah, but who's legitimately talking about that? Has that been?
I thought that.
Where was it?
I'm trying to remember. Today's been crazy. Like, was it CJ?
Was it Chris Johnson? Like, was it?
I can't remember. I don't want to attribute it to someone that they didn't say it, but somebody mentioned that like maybe Vancouver flips Lindholm to get Gensel. Where did I see that? It doesn't
matter because that would be one of the most ridiculous things in NHL history.
It wasn't like somebody just saying it, a rando or anything like that. It was someone that has some clout. Anyway, it did. It's just sitting there in my mind. I apologize.
RJ says they got a guy in the bottom six who actually hits now. Maybe that makes the others around him start hitting more too. AB Poker Inc. is in it. Says, I love this franchise with every bit in my heart, but on days like today, this fan base is hard to deal with. People get mad just to get mad at this point.
Yes.
I think.
They do.
Yeah. And that's usually what it happens.
Part of oil country.
Chris Burrow says it was CJ saying Lindholm to Boston.
Yes. Pardon me, Boston. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Maybe there's a situation there where Lindholm would also sign in Boston.
Right. He's a rental right now.
Yeah, well, he's a rental. I mean, he's going to be a rental until he signs somewhere. Yeah. But
Russian Spa guy says, could they do Buchnevich with roster players? The Buchnevich thing is out the window now. Gone.
Chris in Phoenix is in and says, I've wanted Henrique for a couple of seasons now. Well, you got him. You got him. And we'll see what happens with these other teams. Vegas is already, well, if you look at the elites around the National Hockey League, or in the West, let's just stay in the West. Vegas, struggling, but brought in Mantha. See what type of impact he makes. Dallas won the Tanev sweepstakes. That's another contender in the West.
Yeah.
Winnipeg moved early.
And that's worked
got
out
Monahan.
Very well.
Vancouver moved early. Got Lindholm.
Yes.
Now Colorado has made a move. They've got Middlestad and Sean Walker picked up just today. So the top three teams in the other division have all already made moves. The Oilers, the Golden Knights, and the Canucks have all already made moves.
Yes.
Your move, Los Angeles Kings, if you want to try to get back in the mix here as well.
If you're the Kings, what are you looking at? Were they in the mix for a top? They've lost Arvidsson again, right? Are they looking for more offense? Would they try to make a move on Buchnevich?
I think if you're the Kings, I wouldn't bother wasting my time because of your goaltending situation anyway. I'm sorry. The Kings, whenever they get knocked out of the playoffs, it'll be because of their goaltending. And I know some people outside of this market be like, well, look at what the Oilers have and Skinner, whatever. I'm just saying that if I'm the Los Angeles Kings, I don't know if I'm loading up or trying to bring in significant pieces when you know in the end that your goaltenders are going to kill you.
They tried getting Korpisalo last year. The Oilers got to Korpisalo. They go out and they get Talbs this year. He had a great start.
If the Oilers lose a playoff series to the Kings because of Cam Talbot, that won't happen.
Yeah, Talbs is running out of steam.
Camrose Chris is in and says, any word on salary retention?
Still waiting.
It's expected. Just waiting for the details on the salary retention. So if you do see that, feel free to throw it around. Sean Walker, some other moves have been happening here in the National Hockey League, and we'll kind of dive into more of your thoughts on what this lineup looks like. It seems like it would be Derek Ryan, and what is there any chance? And Tommy, you already said it's got to be Connor Brown that would come out.
I don't know.
But is there? What about Matthias Janmark? Is there a chance they take Matthias Janmark out? And,
yeah.
Do you put Matthias Janmark in the same playing field as Derek Ryan and Connor Brown? I guess is what I'm asking.
I feel like he has more trust from the coaching staff than, well, certainly Brown, obviously. But, yeah, maybe him and Ryan are kind of in the same boat. Although Janmark's game has been better lately. He had that one night in the press box. I think that probably spurred him on to play better, and it worked. He's a week and a couple days removed from a important night against Calgary where he had a fight, and he's been a guy that's been deep in the postseason. So I think he probably stays in and gets the benefit of the doubt. You talked about a guy like Holloway who just hit 82 games in his career in the NHL. That's the guy that probably gets lumped in with Ryan and Brown as the guys that are the extras, if you will. And I like Dylan Holloway, and I am encouraged by what he's doing. He just, at some point, the points need to start happening. Might be next year. Maybe he gets a few in the stretch drive, but the effort and the encouraging play hasn't led to offensive success.
Carrick and Henrique are both over 50% on the dot, meaning that Ryan and Draisaitl doesn't need to take as many critical draws. I'd be curious if Henrique would play center on a line with Draisaitl on the wing. We've been going for 40 minutes. We have 40 minutes left in the oil stream here today if you want to chime in. Didn't think about that as the combinations go. Usually Leon only sort of rides shotgun with McDavid or back and forth, however they operate there. Henrique between Draisaitl and Nuge on the other side, and then we could put Nuge in the middle.
Yeah, and let Leon take faceoffs.
Let Leon take faceoffs. One of those guys, any one of those other two guys take faceoffs. And then you play Kane up with
I think Nuge's faceoffs have gotten better, too. Let me look. I have yesterday.
Smitty the Welder's asking if Carrick and Henrique will be in the lineup tomorrow.
It's possible. I mean, they got this deal done relatively early today. Where are the Ducks? Are they at home right now? Yes, they are. Anaheim, Ottawa, the big game McLennan was talking about. You can get them on a flight probably out of L.A. to Columbus. Or Daryl can send the PJ. They've done that before. So, yeah, I would assume those guys are playing tomorrow.
You could have them with the team by tonight, really.
Yes.
Right?
It's so early.
You could have them with the team by tonight.
Smitty, I think that they play tomorrow.
Portions of the oil stream brought to you by Popeyes. If you're looking for bite to eat lunch today, go hit up any of the Popeyes locations. Now open just down 170th Street here on the West End as well. Get yourself a Popeyes classic or spicy chicken sandwich or the blackened chicken sandwich. Also absolutely delicious at all of the Popeyes locations. Pedro Wilson is in and says, no chance Janmark goes out instead of Brown, but maybe instead of Ryan. Lick Fury is in and says Nuge with McDavid and Hyman, McLeod with Draisaitl and Fogle. Okay, this is getting interesting.
Lick Fury and Nasty Chat?
Yeah, Lick Fury over in the Nasty Chat.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Nuge with McDavid and Hyman, McLeod with Draisaitl and Fogle, Holloway with Henrique and Kane, And then Janmark with Carrick and Perry.
That's 4 lines that you can just send out there and probably feel pretty confident in. And then it would depend on what Holloway's giving you. If he's elevating his game. Again, I'm encouraged by Holloway, but you see this one from Terry?
Go ahead, buddy.
Hearing that Bob Stauffer,
Yes.
friend of EST,
Friend
is
of
ordering
EST.
a Mediterranean chicken for all the keyboard GMs in Edmonton.
Of course
played.
he is. Of
Well
course
played.
he is. Blake from Airdrie says, I feel like the Ekholm deal was a total fluke for Holland. Henrique is all right, but I don't know how much of an upgrade on anyone Carrick is. Disappointed we didn't grab someone like Buchnevich who can move the needle. Not liking that we used our first on this. Blake from Airdrie.
Blake.
First of all, anybody falling into an Ekholm deal is a little bit of a fluke. Like, that just worked out really well.
Or if you massage that deal.
Yeah. But Carrick has to be an upgrade.
How is he
on what
not?
they're rolling on the fourth line right now.
You literally have a guy who hasn't scored yet in almost 60 games.
Who's only in the lineup because you like the way he kills penalties. Now you've brought in a guy who can kill penalties
And almost
has
has
scored
10.
8 goals on the fourth line and hits people.
On the outside looking in, that's an upgrade. You've been playing Matthias Janmark in your top 6 the last week. Now you have a guy that can legitimately slide into your top 6 that has 42 points on the season. Where would that put him on this roster right now?
Who, Henrique?
Henrique would be behind McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent-Hopkins, Bouchard, Hyman, and that's it. He'd be ahead of Evander Kane, who has 36 points.
Basically, he'd be ahead of everybody who's not on PP1.
Right.
Yeah.
Ahead of Fogle. Certainly ahead of McLeod. That sounds like an upgrade to me as well. This is you just made your lineup deeper up front.
Hey, guys, a couple of questions. Any chance the Oilers would move their 2025 first for Buchnevich this year to actually go all in or nah? Who's the depth D-man that they're targeting potentially? And a depth D-man, I'd be pretty surprised if there's not some sort of warm body on the blue line still added prior to the deadline. I would also request politely if the Oilers could hold that defenseman until the deadline and then announce it around, I don't know, 10:30, 11-ish.
That'd be great.
On Friday. That would be great.
Get Buchnevich out of your head. It's not happening. This is
done.
it.
It's over. It's
this
done.
is over. This is over.
Are you speculating it's over?
No,
or it's over?
how in the world could you even do that?
Fogle, your 2025 first, 50% retained?
No way St. Louis would do that.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just saying that. I mean, I was just saying financially, I think there could be a way. But,
Okay, but St.
yeah.
Louis is going, that's a great deal. We're going to take it. All the while, Buchnevich has a 12-team no-trade clause.
So
That
that's a
might
non-starter
include
anyway?
I think this Henrique deal puts an end to any other big impact forward discussion. And like I was told 25 minutes ago, yes, the focus is now shifted to veteran D-man, not a big blockbuster name at all.
One over in the Nasty Chat says Connor Brown for Clean Costin. First of all, I don't think Connor Brown. Why would anybody take Connor Brown?
They're not going to take on.
So, yeah, I don't see that one happening. Tommy, quit throwing smart sense and true facts at this crew. Most of them don't
Sorry.
want to hear it. LMFAO.
I know.
Well, I mean, it's silly season, as we said today.
You get excited.
It's silly season. Everybody
Our
gets
heads are
super
spinning.
excited. Everybody's so happy. You're gonna continue to dream big. You dream big though, right, kids? Dream big. I think that ends up making a difference for you from an Edmonton Oilers perspective.
I say just get it out of your head, and then I see Oilers 1988, great year, by the way. Holloway, Kane, and a first in 25. Stop it. Just stop it.
Say that again.
Holloway, Kane, and a first in 2025. I think this is a potential.
Okay.
Buchnevich.
Are we
just
stopping
stop.
it? Let's just stop this for now.
Kane has a no movement clause, okay? So he has full control. He probably doesn't want to leave Edmonton. But I think Edmonton's pretty reluctant to part ways with a guy like Dylan Holloway. So no, just stop it. Stop it. Where's that Michael Jordan meme? Stop it.
Yeah, you had to bring him up. Ruined my day.
Sorry, buddy. Someone get a LeBron meme of that.
There we go. Penner's Pancake says, Fogle, Holloway, Bourgault, 2025 first and third for 50% retained. St. Louis would contemplate that.
I love you, Penner's Pancakes.
Tommy's going to get up and walk away.
I am. I'm kidding.
Wilson, the volleyball, says, for everyone mad at Holland, this is his last year of making trades for the Oilers. Right?
Yeah. I've been told that Kenny wants to put this team in a spot where it can win a cup this year, obviously, go out with a bang. And then he is very conscious and aware of leaving it in a good spot when he's done.
Portions of the Oil Stream brought to you by One Putt Virtual Golf. They're one of the best and most accurate indoor golf places in the city for serious and casual golfers. They got 6 TrackMan bays, which makes it the perfect place to golf, hang out with your friends while catching the Oilers game. They also got that EST 6 o'clocker lager in the can right there at One Putt. Check them out to plan your next event. We're talking birthday parties, stags, team building, much, much more. Hey, how about this? How about you mix in a post-trade deadline gathering with your friends at One Putt to discuss the deadline? Hey, Friday evening, 3-4 hours. Go hit the links at One Putt and talk about all the deals.
Tee up a big Oilers weekend, a couple morning games. I like it.
They can fit up to 30 golfers, 40 people total. To learn more, check them out, www.oneputt.ca, or follow them on Instagram at OnePuttYEG.
Lick Fury adds, they just improved a 16-game winning streak team. Let's go, Oil.
I mean, yeah.
That's the second longest streak in league history. Tied with Columbus, of all teams. Pedro, use your imagination. Brown gets waived and finds some confidence in the minors.
Guys, it's in your boots. Is Ken acting like Marshall turning 9, and this is the last time I make a trade? So we were joking about with Marshall yesterday, saying everything was like, this is the last time I do this as an 8-year-old. This was Ken Holland's last trade for a forward. Of course he was going to move a first.
Yeah.
We knew the first was in play forever. I mean, the first was going to be moved for whatever forward they did. If you think they overpaid by moving a first to also have salary retained to get Adam Henrique and a very serviceable upgrade on your fourth line, then I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you're valuing late first-round picks way too high.
Yeah. Someone texted in earlier, said, hey, those are a crapshoot. They can be. They certainly can be. This is good. This is exciting. I like how the dam is breaking around the league. Friday will be interesting. It'll be massaging those rosters as opposed to making the big swing for the fences.
As of right now, here's a question for everybody. As of this moment, we just went through it. Winnipeg is added, could add more. Yep. All these teams could add more. Nobody's done. The deadline's
They'll try.
The deadline's 48 hours and 28 minutes away. So these teams are still going to continue to add, but they've got to jump. As of the Wednesday before the trade deadline, who's the best team in the West?
As of today?
With the additions that have been made, like you look at Colorado today. Brought in Casey Middlestad, brought in Sean Walker. 2 pretty decent pieces. Had to move out Byram to bring in Middlestad, but they obviously like him up front. Dallas has added Tanev to that group. What a wild game for Dallas last night.
Yeah, on paper, I would say Winnipeg and Dallas are the best teams.
You like Winnipeg on paper better than the Oilers?
Yeah.
Because of Hellebuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hellebuck's going to tip and Ottinger then with Dallas too?
And I'm one who likes to be positive. I think Stu Skinner, and yesterday's game was an indicator, will elevate his game. He's in his second full year in the NHL, but he's not where Ottinger is, and he's certainly not where Connor Hellebuck is. That's an advantage.
So those would be the top 2 teams in the West.
That's what I think. Vancouver's right there with them. I think the Golden Knights, despite their struggles of late, 2-7-1 in the last 10, I think that the Golden Knights will wake up and will be beasts come playoff time.
Beasts?
Beasts.
I don't think so.
I do.
You think they're going to be beasts come playoff time?
I think so. Man,
What's beast? What do you mean by
like they
beast?
could make a run for the cup again?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think so. Look out.
They started really well, but they've been like very meh for about I'd say 3 months.
And they've been dealing with injuries. Look out. Don't knock Vegas.
So Colorado's interesting. Ryan Johansson out. Casey Middlestat in. Casey Middlestat will be a top 6 guy there, I would think. Right now, what's the latest on Landeskog again?
He's skating.
He's skating again?
But, like...
I mean, what can you really expect from a guy, though? Like,
he's been skating, and they've been secretive about it. They wouldn't roll him out with the team. Then he started skating with the team. Whatever he had done on his knee, man, like, that's significant. We're going on 2 seasons here. But I think they're anticipating him coming back by playoff time.
Seeing on Twitter pop up a little bit here that Tampa Bay might be the 3rd team.
Yes.
To a broker the deal. Where'd you see that?
Well, Clacker of all people.
Gotta love Clacker NHL update. Always grinding things out. Yeah. So
I asked somebody for confirmation on that. Haven't heard back.
Amos Moses says, what are Monahan's number versus Henrique's, and what price did both teams pay for them? Are they comparable? Thanks. Monahan had pretty decent numbers when the Jets managed to scoop him up.
Yes. He was at, what, like 20 goals already?
Was he already at 20 when they got him?
I think that he was. Because, oh, no. He had 13. My bad.
He had 13 when they got him?
Yeah. Now he's got 21.
Okay.
Man,
has he been a nice fit in Winnipeg?
That was a great pickup. Let's see trades here. 1st-round pick and a conditional 3rd.
Guys, I'm impressed that Holland could get this done without subtracting from the roster. Depth defenders shouldn't cost too much, I hope. I'm optimistic. This is better than they were this morning. Yes. Yes. I would like what would be the word to describe the level of betterness that they are now? They're not, are they very much better than they were this morning?
They're more well-rounded, more complete. Still need another defenseman literally on the roster. But a big step in the right direction as of right now, for sure. I think it's fair to describe this as.
So do you think the defenseman that they end up bringing in, and let's just let me just bring up, let's find any sort of random trade bait board. Let's just take a look at some defensemen that would be available that could also fit in with like retention and no other body having to be moved out. Because you know what's going to happen, Tommy, like the next 48 hours, there's still going to be a discussion. Cody Ceci, 2025 first-rounder for that legitimate upgrade, top 4 D-man.
Who is that guy?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know who that guy is. But there will be that discussion around town. Yeah. You just know how, I mean, that's just how it's.
That's just the nature of.
That's just, the nature of the beast come deadline day. Mm-hmm. Like, that's just what's going to happen. But I would think the defenseman at this point that they probably bring in would be like a rotation guy.
Yes,
with Desharnais and Ceci. Like,
I think
you want somebody that you would feel comfortable playing ahead of them. If one of them, like, I don't think they should trade for a guy that you're like, he's got experience, but you're not technically sure you'd play him ahead of Desharnais. You know, like, I think you'd like a guy that you could be like, yeah, you know what? He's just as good, if not better than Desharnais. Desharnais not playing well now. He gets to play.
Okay, that's fair. I'm going to make a comparison, and for the younger generation out there, this might not stick. Zach DeCum will have no clue what I'm talking about, for example. He's 20 years old. Remember in 2006 when Matt Green came in late and emerged, and he was a stalwart on the back end. Basically, Vinny Desharnais has had a full season of runway to do what Matt Green did. And Matt Green was steady and in the lineup every night in the postseason as a younger guy with less experience than what Vinny Desharnais. I don't think they're going to be looking to bump Vinny Desharnais out I think especially with this move to pair him up with Darnell Nurse, because why they split up CC and Nurse was because those two had struggled in recent weeks. Now they've got a really steady pair in Kulak and CC, and Desharnais this time around is showing very well in a small sample size with Darnell Nurse. I think they're going to continue to try this out, and I don't know necessarily that unless they can find a deal, but doesn't sound like that's the intention at all. I've just told, again, I'll reiterate, depth defenseman, not a blockbuster, is where this team is focused on the back end. Desharnais is probably the guy that they want to be able to count on in the postseason. And you know what? He was excellent again last night. He was excellent against Seattle. He is taking that opportunity, and he's running with it, and he's becoming a better defenseman. And the confidence is building. And you don't just build up a guy, Dusty, and then go, you know what, we're going to...
So you think there's like some investment in him here to be that guy?
Absolutely. So I think the plan, these 6 that you're watching day in, day out are your guys. And then they're going to add another guy that if they need to, someone gets banged up, maybe somebody's struggling. What if CC's struggling? Well, then you can slide this guy in. That's my understanding of where this is going on the back end with the information provided.
2024 4th from Edmonton to Tampa for 25% retention on Henrique.
There you go.
All right, so that would change my math a little bit if the retention is just on Henrique. But Carrick was a small number anyway, 850. Mm-hmm. But it should still leave them room to bring in a D-man with just like the team they're getting them from retaining. I don't think you need to work in 2 teams again.
Yeah.
But it's out there if you can. Seems like every single trade that's happening right now almost has retention. Kind of interesting at this time of year. I feel like it's cranked up a little bit more this year than last year in the retention game, but I might be wrong. All right, so here's Tommy. Here's this. I'm just throwing defensemen. We'll go through every single defenseman on this trade bait board.
Yeah, I'm trying to find I'm filtering to see who might be out there.
And if it's just a straight up no, then it's just a straight up no. We don't necessarily need to get into it. So I just pulled up TSN's trade bait board. I know there's a bunch of them out there. This is the easiest one to Google. Chychrun, no. Hanifin, no.
No.
Sean Walker's gone. Matt Dumba.
No.
No. Okay.
This is it. Like
3.9
mil. Not a blockbuster.
Reviewing Dumba as a blockbuster?
Well,
I don't technically view Dumba as a blockbuster. What other D-man
out there now?
Yeah.
Well, he's always he's somebody everybody's like, oh, Matt Dumba.
The only defenseman on this, there's Hanifin, Chychrun would be blockbusters.
Yes.
On the back end. Those teams would be blockbusters. Florida getting a Hanifin, somebody getting a Chychrun, those would be blockbusters. The rest of these D-men, to me, are depth defensemen, including Matt Dumba. Joel Edmondson, 1.75 mil.
Maybe, yeah.
Have them retain. Bring in Edmondson as your number 7's got playoff experience. Carrier out of Nashville, 2.5 mil, number 25 on the trade bait board. He'd be a nice pickup, but I don't see that one happening. Zach Bogosian signed. David Savard, 3.5 mil.
I thought David Savard wasn't moving.
Have they said he's not moving?
I thought I heard that.
Okay. Eric Johnson, Buffalo.
Veteran. I like that. I like Eric Johnson.
3.25 mil.
Might be too pricey.
That would likely require third team retention to try to get that down, because that would take it under $1 million.
All right.
If they could pull that off.
I just did a cap friendly thing, and I went $2 million max.
Okay.
For salary or cap hit this year. Here are the names: Brandstrom, Lazon, Goligoski, Colin Miller, Jacob Bryson, Sean Dursey, D'Angelo, who I was told no on, Cam York, Hakanpää you're not getting, Sandberg, Jordan Harris, Rasmus Sandin, Philip Myers, Timothy Liljegren, Riley Stillman, Josh Brown, Jared Tenorti, Matt Benning, whose season I think is over, Jakob Zboril, Nick Perbix, Travis Hamonic, Mark Stahl, Troy Stetcher, Kyle Burrows, Connor Timmins, Brendan Smith, Kevin Shattenkirk, Logan Stanley, Dmitry Kulikov, Andreas Englund, Mike Riley, Yusuf Valimaki, Curtis McDermott, and then that's pretty much it.
McDermott's already been dealt.
Yeah, and any of those tickle anybody's fancy.
Not a great list, but there would be some defensemen on there that would have NHL experience, can be your number 7.
And these are guys that are mostly going to be UFAs. Some RFAs in there.
Guys, Holland has been ticking upwards since the Athanasiou deal years ago. Anything is better than that deal was. Yeah, that was
bad.
That wasn't a great deal, was it?
No, didn't work out. At first, it sounded good. It is.
No, go ahead.
Season. No, I have nothing. No, I'm just like, whoa. Okay, what's going on? Paul wants Mark Stahl.
Chad says a Miller, Tenorti, Hamonic type. I will be honest with you, and this is, I haven't watched, I haven't paid attention to him at all, but I know he comes with some size. He could be complete trash. I just know as you were going through the list, when you said Tenorti, I was like,
Big.
I wonder, he's just a big 7th body.
Yeah.
If you want to grind on some teams in the playoffs, maybe that's something. He's like 32 now.
I want to float something to you.
Okay.
In the nasty chat, Mule808 says, what do you mean, what if CC struggles? He's been struggling all year. What do you think of that statement?
Probably a little overdramatic.
I think he's had a bounce back year from the year prior.
Yeah. I think CC's just been okay.
Right.
But
Steady.
I also only expect Cody CC to just be okay.
Yeah. Raj wants Goodbranson, Big Mean D. I like the idea of him coming in and bolstering the Oilers' back end. It's just the price point that doesn't work.
So the deal that we've been discussing here for the last hour, and we've got mixed things in the nasty chat here, but it looks like it's 75% retained. Here we are. So here's the official deal. To the Oilers, Adam Henrique, 75% retained. Sam Carrick, no retention, 7th round pick. To the Ducks, Edmonton's first rounder, a conditional 2025 5th. And then to Tampa, Edmonton 4th round pick. If the Oilers win the cup, the 5th becomes the 4th. Tampa also has to send a reserve list player out the other way, which you see in a lot of these retention deals.
Yeah.
Somebody sliding the other way. So
how about this one?
I'd not have Tampa as a team retaining salary for other teams to get a deal done.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Zach Bogosian signs a 2-year extension at $1.25 million AAV with Mini.
Yeah, that was last night.
Oh, that was last night.
I'm pretty sure that was last. I thought I saw
missed
that. I thought I saw that last night.
Why did NHL Network just put that out there right now?
I think that was last night.
They just literally put it out 3 minutes ago.
Hey, Zach, is Noodles trying to get on? Noodle says he's trying to get on. Just check the window and see. Is he trying to hop on there? Yeah, we'll send him another link.
Let's go to the inbox. 780-218-9999. Johnny from Sylvan says, Carrier or Fabro make the most sense. Interesting. Cole Harper Joe says, knowing Holland, he'd be looking at Stahl out of those players, the ones I listed a couple minutes ago. What else is this one saying? Edmonton, we've talked about. Norm in a combine. Hey, boys, did we get Barry yet? Ha-ha. Norm, not on a rant. Norm was fired up about Bouchard last night. I said, Norm, give yourself a couple Serenity Nows and some deep breaths and a 6 o'clock or lager. You'd be good.
Was he pretty fired up?
I think he was excited about the Oilers' win, And then he was also unhappy with the play of Evan Bouchard, who had a few gaffes, but totally redeemed himself. Well, not totally, but cleared it up a little bit.
Did you start a new session, Zach? Yeah, maybe just close it down and then start a new session, and then send that. No, not there.
We got to figure it out.
Yeah, we're trying to get Noodles on. Noodles is going to try to hop on here at some point.
I like this positive text.
Trev start a new session, grab the link, and then send it to Noodles.
All right. This one says, gotta drop the quote, "What do you want me to get him for free?" from the Keith trade to all the naysayers. I love this trade in regard to the Henrique Carrick deal.
I don't think we should be concerned about, some people love this trade. Some people hate the trade. That usually means it's probably a pretty fair deal, does it not?
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's delusions of grandeur always, from some, not all. It's natural.
Tommy, hit a few more text messages.
All
I
right.
was going to check.
Pagnotta just confirming Ducks have retained 50% of Henrique and Carrick's deals, while Bolts retained 25% of Henrique's full contract. So that is the full extension of that trade. Thank you to our Hello Hockey insider, David Pagnotta, with that one. Let's go to the inbox, 780-218-9999 if you want to text us. And as well, you can get at us in the nasty chat. You guys are humming today. Wow, my goodness. Joel saying, how about the Bouchard telling the refs if they are there for the game? That was funny. What else do we have here? Who do we send down if Carrick slots into the lineup, Holloway or Ryan? It'd probably be Holloway in that situation. We'll see. We'll see if the Oilers move a body out as well, if they can maybe clear up a little room on the roster, but I doubt that's going to happen. Donovan says, could we trade a few 6 o'clocker loggers to a mad scientist for a Nuge clone? Sheesh, those back checks. Yes, does it again yesterday.
Yeah, Nuge. Fire me back up, boys. Or my headphones, at least. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, a Nuge clone would be great. Or just take part of Nuge's willingness to backcheck and put it into Evander Kane's body. I think that would probably help a little bit as well.
Jen texts in and says, the Oilers got rights to Ty Taylor to another goalie. LOL. All right. Here we go.
One more defenseman coming, and that'll be it. Ty Taylor. Tell us a little bit about Ty Taylor.
I have to look him up.
Let's find out about Ty Taylor.
Okay.
Look him up. Reserve list guy. That's the reserve list guy that would have gone the other way. We're going to have Jamie Mclennan hop on here shortly. He's actually working the Ducks game tonight against the Ottawa Senators, and I told him this morning when he hopped on the Nielsen show earlier today, I said, you better watch these guys. Watch these guys tonight. And sure enough, there he is. Jamie Mclennan's going to join us right now on the Oil Stream with Nielsen and Gazzola. Noodles, thanks for popping back on, buddy. I know it's a game day for you, so it will be busy, but we got some news in oil country here with the Edmonton Oilers bringing both Carrick and Henrique in. Let's start with Adam Henrique. What do you think of him as a player, and where does he fit into this lineup? We've been talking about, does he play with Draisaitl and Kane on a second line? Does he play with Nuge? I know they're similar. What do you think? What do you think happens here?
You know what? That's the beauty, is they've got an opportunity here to kind of move him around. Like, I think you give him an opportunity right away, play on a second line, see if he can develop some chemistry with Draisaitl. But the more I think about it, is all it does is force in-house competition. And now you're going to have, Ryan McLeod is going to go, where do I fit? And you're going to have other players to go, okay, where am I going to battle for positioning here? So I think Henrique's great because he can play center, he can play wing, he's versatile, he can go up or down your lineup, he's good on the penalty kill. So I think you'd start him off early. You know what it is, the sexy new toy or somebody you're excited about. You give him the look with the big boys. You give him that love. And if he can settle in and get some chemistry, great. And if not, then, you push him down in the lineup and just have him as not a depth guy, but add him in that third line, find some chemistry there.
Noodles, Tommy Gazzola here. Where could you see Evander Kane playing? Could you see him with Henrique at some point? And maybe there's something there because for whatever reason, Kane and Draisaitl don't click. No matter how much they try, it seems to be like trying to smash a square peg into a round hole. Could you see maybe something there with Kane and Henrique potentially?
Yes, because Evander's and we've been watching that game last night. Something's off with him. There's nights where he's just a dominant player, and there's other times where, I get concerned about his puck decisions.
Yeah.
Like he's got an opportunity to pass it, he shoots. Other times he shoots when you got a guy wide open. Like they're just, some nights, like I look at it and he set the bar so high. I've said this before. When they beat Calgary in the playoffs and he had a hat trick that one game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He pretty much, I want to say, and I'm wrong in this, but I feel like he was the guy who put them over the edge in that series because they had no answer. Yes, you're trying to deal with McDavid and Draisaitl, but Kane was such an animal in a good way. Like he was physical, he could score, he could skate, he was a bully. Like that's the type of stuff I look at, and you can't do that for 82 games. But there's just been something where you've just wanted a little bit more from him, and he hasn't been able to deliver that this season. But again, I come back to, okay, so you add Adam Henrique in there. Maybe it is Kane, Henrique, and Janmark or Perry, or like, where's Corey Perry going to fit? Is Connor Brown going to be a player at some point in this? Like my heart goes out to him. Like, honest to God, we all love him, but it's like, the three of us have the same amount of goals. Like it's so weird. It is. I'm actually like perplexed. And who was it? It was Tobias Reeder that went.
It was Toby Reeder, buddy. Toby Reeder, goalless season.
But like, I still think that Brown is effective, but you still have to produce. Like bottom line, you have to produce. So I look at it now. You've got some flexibility where you got a guy like Carrick, you've got a guy like Henrique that comes in. And the thing about Henrique is he's a really smart player. So if it doesn't work with Draisaitl, maybe you make it work with Kane because he knows where to go on the ice. And I don't think he's a big ego guy. He'll defer to whoever he wants to on his line and help them get better. So, those two moves, very crafty moves. I didn't see, was it a first they gave up?
It ended up being a first. And they got the retention 75% of Henrique contained because it's a first and a conditional fifth, and then a fourth to Tampa to retain on just Henrique, not Carrick. Carrick was $875 anyway. So I how it is in a fan base. I mean, being in Toronto for you for the most part, you'll see it. I mean, we had a bunch of people being like, "This is a horrible overpay," and then we got other people saying, "This is a great deal." So
really, just to clarify on that from Pagnotta, Ducks retain 50% of Henrique. And Carrick deals, Bolts retain 25% of Henrique deals.
So the Ducks are retaining on Carrick, but Tampa is not retaining on Carrick.
I'll just read what Dave wrote. Ducks retain 50% of Henrique, Carrick deals.
Okay.
Bolts retain 25% of Henrique.
All right, so a little bit mixed reports from what we saw a little bit earlier on. But so there's some retention there, and they leave themselves an opportunity to still bring in a veteran defenseman of some sort, too. So that has to be a win, I think.
I think it is a win because that was going to be my next question is I haven't, crunched the numbers, but is there some flexibility to add another body on the back end that can contribute, not just be, an 8 or a 7? Like that's my, again, if we had a wish list, that would be my wish list is somebody that can create some competition in a top 4, top 5 situation. If you believe that, I don't know where Desharnais fits in your guys' depth chart. Kulak's played better. Like I look at, I would like to see one more body in there that can move pucks and defend well. Again, I don't know if it's a Joel Edmondson. I don't know if it's guys like that who've, been a David Savard. Like I know those guys come with huge price tags and maybe big money to fit, but I'd like to see a battle-tested heavy player on the back end be added to the mix. But right now, I look at Ken's body of work here. Yes, you're going to always, anytime a first rounder gets traded, everyone's going to start throwing darts at it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the time now that you got to push your chips in. Ken's been trying to do that the last couple of years, and you got to give your team every opportunity. So I don't see any downside in this trade because, the Edmonton Oilers are a better team today than they were last night against Boston on paper.
Jamie Mclennan joining us now. We're breaking down the Oilers trade. We're approaching trade deadline. Lots of things happening around the league. Jamie, I know earlier I was filling in for Dusty on the Nielsen show. This was a couple months ago, and you brought up Cody Ceci, and you weren't too pleased with his play at that point. Just how do you see him? I don't know how much you've been able to watch and analyze his game lately, but they have him paired up with Kulak. They've tried this for the last couple games. Desharnais has been elevated to play with Nurse. Yesterday it worked out really well, but how have you viewed Ceci's game this year from what you have seen here?
Well, I think he's slotted better, right? Like if you're farther down in the lineup, I see Ceci. Like that's why in a perfect world, I would have liked to see somebody slide into the 4 spot and push Ceci to the 6 or the 5 or 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, Desharnais being elevated is concerning on a consistent basis because he's a big guy. He's a long-rangey guy. Is he a right-handed Nicholas Hague from Vegas type of thing? Hague's a big guy. Plays with some bite. That's what Desharnais does. I know the Oilers love him. I know he's a fan favorite. He's loved in the room. I think Desharnais is a great story. But, again, to go on a deep run, you need 7 or 8 or 9 guys that can play. So if you just added one more that made that internal competition, that if Ceci's going to go back up at some point, maybe the new player pushes him down and starts to push guys around. That's my biggest thing. I think Ceci is best suited. I just felt he was playing a little too high in the lineup, and some of the matchups were a little hard for him. And now it under a microscope, it doesn't help when your partner's not playing very well.
Good point.
And at one point it was Nurse wasn't playing well, so you had Nurse and Ceci that were, Tom, you could speak to probably the analytics. Like they were getting caved in on some nights where you're like, God, it's just every time you turned around, like those guys were digging it out of the net.
Yep.
So I look at it. I would like to see a guy added who can move the puck and play heavy. But if Ceci can play that role, I'm fine with it. And I've been more of a Ceci fan than others. But I also have to be realistic as to what is he right now. What can he do at the top of his game compared to if he just plays average? Where do you have him on a perfect team in a perfect setting? Probably in the 5-6 role, not in a 3-4 role, and certainly not a 1-2. So that is the biggest challenge: is where does he fit? And if you end up adding one more, all it does is create positive competition in that dressing room to where everyone's going to play.
Yeah.
Noodles, I know you got to get going because you got a game tonight. Just quickly on Colorado, Sean Walker, Casey Middlestad in, Bowen Byram out. What's that do for the Avalanche?
Makes them, a lot better, but Middlestad is the one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Johansson out.
Johansson out, Middlestad in, and then Byram out and Walker in, and those two separate deals, yeah.
So is it Middlestad for Byram? Right?
Yeah, straight up, 1 for 1.
I don't know. Like Middlestad's a nice player. Byram's a better player, if you ask me. Like I was looking at that, like, because Middlestad's kind of been in and out of the doghouse for years.
Yep.
In Buffalo, and like that Bowen Byram is a really nice player. Now I know there's a health concern with Bowen because he's had concussions and some some stuff that is well documented. But he's a guy. So obviously Gerard coming back, they said that makes Bowen Byram expendable. I thought there would be more for that. Like
I was a little surprised too. I was a little surprised too. Yeah.
That one, because I'm sitting there going, wouldn't the Maple Leafs find something? Wouldn't Edmonton? Like, I would love to see. I'm like, God, to have Bowen Byram in your lineup. Yes, a live body would go out, but I know, and I'm not suggesting this, but I guarantee you with the acquisition of Adam Henrique, people would probably say, well, would Ryan McLeod go for Bowen Byram? If that's because that's kind of the Mittelstadt. When I look at it, that's kind of like Mittelstadt is a skilled guy. He's not as good a skater as McLeod, but I think he's more of a finisher than McLeod. So it's just interesting. That one, I'd have to look. I don't want to speak off the cuff here.
But see what more is going on there with that one. Yeah, that was an interesting one for sure. Well, the fun is totally underway. Hey, it worked earlier this morning, so watch Radko Gudas for us tonight and let us know what happens with him, okay?
Yeah, that guy's an animal.
I loved it. I know, he'd be great.
Huge
That's
ass.
a guy that's on a lot of people's wish list.
Yeah.
But doesn't he have – what's his deal left, though?
I have it right here. I have Anaheim right up. Yeah, he's got 2 more years at $4 million after this year. So that'd be tough. That'd be tough to swing. Tough to swing.
It's an investment because I've heard David Savard's name thrown around as well. Savard's kind of like a Radko Gudas, heavy guy, grizzled, big beard, all of that type of stuff. And I believe he has another year at like just in the 4s somewhere too. So that's a bigger deal going. You're investing, you're getting 1 or 2 playoff rounds or 1 or 2 playoff runs with these guys. Gudas would be nice, but I think Gudas took I'm going to get a big contract and move to California type of thing.
That's a good life right there. He's doing okay. Yeah, he's doing all right.
And all of a sudden, all of these teams are all over me to come move to wherever. So it'll be interesting on that one. I would be shocked if he went, but again, there might be a team that pushes their chips all in and says, we need this guy. And if he controls where he goes, that's the beauty of it. I just don't want all these trades to happen before Friday.
I know.
What the hell are we going to talk about for 12 hours on TSN?
Yeah, have fun with that. I'm sure James Duthie's feeling really good right now. So
it'll be. Gino Reda will be chasing. They had one time these emus in the parking lot, and he was chasing them around. And it's like
I remember that.
I don't know what the hell's going on, but
just don't get sucked into being prop guy, Noodles. Hey, that's the last thing you want. Like you're the one who has to do this with this.
I'm not Carrot Top. Yeah. And you have to have a certain comedic background to do it. Like that's why Gene pulls it off so well, Principe, because you watch him and he's just always got something on the go. I love it, in the openings. Like the other day, I think I was watching it and he's like shoveling snow outside. I was like,
he did that.
He's a beauty, man. I love Gino. The Noodles, thanks a lot for hopping on, man. We appreciate it, and we'll catch up with you next week.
No problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
There you go.
Thanks,
That's Jamie Mclennan. He's in Anaheim tonight. He'll have that Sens Ducks game on the Sens regional broadcast on TSN. So it was nice. He's in Anaheim getting ready for a Ducks game. So it worked out well to get him on here to talk about Sam Carrick. And we'll have Luke Gazdick on the Nielsen Show tomorrow morning at 7:05 as well. Hart from Puckpedia fired me a quick text.
What's he got?
So this is how we'll wrap here on the Oil Stream today. If you're listening on TuneIn or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com or on our new iHeart channel with Edmonton Sports Talk, Nielsen Show replay coming up here. Before you leave on YouTube, if you're not yet subbed to the channel, that would be great as well. Oil Stream brought to you by our great partners at Boston Pizza and Popeyes and Coolbet. And there will be some heavy bets on the Oilers tomorrow night against the Columbus Blue Jackets. I'll tell you that right now. So in the trades, the Oilers add Henrique at $1.5625 million. That's like that pi number. It just keeps going and going. And then Carrick at $425K because of the 50% retained from just the Ducks.
This is just in the division to keep it to.
Alec Martinez is not on the ice today and is now on IR. Classic IR move.
Look at that.
After sending Gagne down, save $775K. They have a projected $266,000 in projected cap space with the remaining 22 players. Now, here's what you really want to hear. This means they can fit in $1.16 million in an annual cap hit today, or on Friday, $1.22 million. So without any other retention, they can get a player of $1.22 million in cap hit. If they were going to have the other team retain 50%, they could get a player of about $2.4 million in cap hit.
Interesting.
And if they were going to go the 75% route, you could be looking at a guy who makes about $3 million still. So We'll see where they go on the defenseman. But this has been a fun oil stream. We started early. We're finishing late, but it's a big day as the Edmonton Oilers go out and acquire Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick. Thank you very much for joining us here for our extended coverage. And we got full slate of coverage coming up for you on Friday as well. Tomorrow we'll be back with the Nielsen Show breaking down this trade, all of your reaction to that. Tell your friends about Edmonton Sports Talk. We appreciate the support. Hopefully you enjoy the content. That is going to do it for us today. For Tom Gazzola, I am Dustin Nielson. Edmonton Oilers loading up, all in, the first out the door, and a D-man still coming. It should be a lot of fun.